First topic is about President Obama and him trying to possibly appease African Americans. What he has done is he's hung up a Norman Rockwell painting called "The Problem We All Live With," about 20 feet from the Oval Office. And the question is that in some way an effort to reach out to the African American community? You see it there. Now, it's a strong painting. It's of the young girl going to school when she was 6 years old in New Orleans when they were desegregating the schools. And you see the language up on the painting. It's a Norman Rockwell painting. People are familiar with it, but it's pretty strong being in the Oval Office. So now, is this done just randomly, coincidentally, he just put that up? Or is it in a response to the African-American leadership, for example, the Congressional Black Caucus, that has been all over him? Well, Politico has a story about this, and there's some interesting quotes in it. April Ryan is an African-American and a longtime White House reporter for American Urban Radio. When asked about the White House and their reaction to being challenged by those black leaders, she said, "I've been told by people here that they don't want to deal with a lot of race because it over-amplifies," which I think is a really interesting quote. And it's partly what we suspected, which is the Obama administration is a little hesitant to dive into racial issues because of the criticism they're going to get. In fact, Politico writes, quote, "Ryan said Obama and his aides also brushed aside calls for programs targeting sharply higher unemployment rates in the African-American community," meaning that they're not really addressing the substance of the problems, but they have hung up a painting. Now, here's Michael Myers, New York Civil Rights Coalition head, who is a little stronger on this. He says, "Obama's in campaign mode. The Norman Rockwell painting is so historic and so old that Obama's statement is safe. Obama makes no statements about integration today, and the schools are more segregated than they've ever been. Where's his education department on that?" So I asked the question, has President Obama done enough for the black community?
I have a question.
Now, we go to an all-white panel to answer that question. All right, Jimmy and Michael. First, Michael, let me start with you, because you might disagree with me on this.
I disagree with that. I mean, listen, has he done enough? The question, I don't think the question you're asking is, has President Obama done enough for the black community? Because nobody has ever done enough for any community, if they're the president, if they're a senator, or whoever they are. No community is ever absolutely pleased with what the president's done. But whoever the president is. If this is a question about the painting, I think that there is far too much cynicism here. I think there is far too much reading into the coincidence of this. The White House is a living museum. It is constantly changing what is being hung there. The fact that there's a Norman Rockwell painting of Ruby Bridges integrating the schools in 1960. It appeared first on Look magazine in 1964. Rockwell was, when he was a painter for the Saturday Evening Post, was forbidden from painting black people because they thought that it wouldn't sell magazines because it would be too distasteful to their readers. This is an iconic image in civil rights history. The fact that it's hanging in the White House is just the fact that it's hanging in the White House. It is totally separate to what his agenda with Black America is. Has he done enough for schools? Are schools segregated more now than they ever have been, in a way? Yes. But this has nothing to do with the fact that this painting is being hung.
Yeah, I totally disagree.
Okay.
Okay. Go ahead, Jimmy. I'm curious to see your
Yeah, no,
reason.
I would love to believe that. That's a great version of Barack Obama and what's happening right now. But that is, how can you? I mean, he could have just given them jobs. He could have actually tried to do some job programs or implement maybe a democratic policy that would have maybe spurred jobs.
There's nothing about the president that's saying, instead of jobs, I'll hang the painting. He's saying, next month I'm coming out with a jobs program. Has he done enough in a legislative way for anybody in America? I don't think so.
Right.
Well, let me challenge that.
Well, wait a second. Unless you are in the auto business, unless you own an auto company, then I would.
Or Wall Street.
Or in Wall Street to an extent, yes. But
a military-industrial complex.
There are constituencies to which he's appealed. Again, all of this is so cynical. I'm just saying that if you're asking whether or not this has anything to do with his black agenda or his agenda on education, no. A painting was hung in the White House because a painting's hung in the White House. It should have been hung in the White House a long time ago.
All right, two things on that. Number one, the criticism from the Congressional Black Caucus started in the spring. They recently hung up the painting. It is not something that's been there for a year and a half.
Of course
they
it
just
hasn't.
put it
No,
up.
they just put it
and
up.
it's going to go out in October. It is perfect because Fox News of the world, what are they going to do? Criticize the Norman Rockwell painting, right? It's iconic, it's American, it's safe, right? But it doesn't actually cost them anything, right? It's a classic Obama move. It is on the surface, but it actually does nothing to address the substantive issues. And then he goes to the African American community and goes, look at this strong, strong painting I put up.
Did he do that? Did he do that? Did he go to
yes,
the African?
But you know why, Michael? How do you think this story leaked?
Well, the story
How do you think it came out? The White House is like, oh, they're complaining. Well, interesting that we put up this painting.
Well, it's historic in that there hasn't been a picture like that hung in the White House in a very long time, if ever. I don't know if Kennedy or Johnson ever hung anything like that before. He is not addressing the criticisms of the Congressional Black Caucus or black intellectuals or Americans or me about what he's done for Black America or for poor America or for anybody in America by hanging a picture. He's hanging a picture. He's the president. It's a museum.
So
they hang paintings all the time. You know, when a white person complained about something during the Ford administration, and then all of a sudden the inauguration of Rutherford B. Hayes painting goes up on the wall, they say, oh, that's going to quiet the white people. No, it has nothing to do with
Rutherford
that.
has a huge following in the white community.
I mean, it is apples and oranges. Yeah, it's totally coincidental in my opinion.
Do you think that Barack Obama is above doing something like that? Above using that kind of a painting in a cynical political
I think
move?
he's too. The reason I don't think it's about above or below. I think that he, like me, makes zero connection between hanging a painting and addressing critics. The critics were not saying that blacks are underrepresented on the walls of the White House. They were saying that blacks are underrepresented in the United States. And for him to be so naive as to think that by hanging a painting, that's going to quiet the critics, I think more highly of him than that.
I've said before on this show, in fact, that it's weird to me that Barack Obama is trying to position himself as the guy who's willing to compromise, position himself as the reasonable guy, instead of just implementing policies that will actually change people's lives. So he's trying to do all politics instead of policy, and it seems like this is exactly the same thing.
There are things to criticize this president about that are not about hanging a painting, because then we're getting as distracted as everybody else is.
All right, but I do have to summarize because we are at a 2-1 here, and I want to see if we get deadlocked on it or if Justice Jackson can break the tie for us. The Norman Rockwell painting, it wasn't done for a political purpose. Justice Jackson.
I don't think you can go conclusively, but it looks like it. I think so, but I can't say what his motivation is, which is why it's
Obama-esque response from you.
Ironic,
yeah.
As you vote against him.
I've learned a lot from this guy. No, it's perfect for the way for how it can work, because it's smart. He does things in a way that you can speculate all you want, but you're not going to know for sure, and so you can fight about it, but you're going to look like the crazy person. You're going to look like the person who's bringing up the race issue. You're going to look like that guy who's being angry and saying, "Look what he's doing now," and then he can look down and go, "Calm down."
Yeah.
Don't you enjoy
That's his
this
favorite strategy.
Yes.
To both sides, to both the right wing and the left wing. Oh, calm down,
Calm down, everybody.
Wait for my second term when everything is going to be great.